Evening all, welcome to another episode of Dick Moby, episode 18 of Dick Moby. Yes, it really has been going on for that long, and it will continue to do so. Gollum's been on the internet, hasn't he? Reading The Hobbit. Chris Evans, Captain America, he was on CBeebies, reading the bedtime story. Even my brother-in-law's been getting in on the act. He read Stig of the Dump on YouTube. Problem is, all of these people read their books forwards. They made a conscious decision to read the books in the order in which they were written. Me, I'm a maverick. I'm going to read this book backwards. Mainly because I'd like to unread it, because it's so shit. Moby Dick is an atrocious novel. The great American novel of 1851, Herman Melville's great work, Moby Dick, is an absolute shambles. And I wish I'd never read it. I want to unread it. That's what I'm doing. In doing so, hopefully I am dumbing you down. You don't have to watch this. You only have yourself to blame. Actually, you have me to blame. If you miss this, you can blame yourself. You can blame me for you watching this. I did tell you to do it. You don't have to do everything I say. This is where we got to last time. The thrilling conclusion to last episode was when we found out that everything that I'd been reading previously was a footnote to the thing I'm about to read. There's literally no separation between the footnote and the place that it is a footnote from. Stupid. Well, just write it in a line. Just write all the words in order. Doesn't matter. You don't have to make something a footnote. Just carry on. There's no limit on how long the chapters are. God knows there's no limit on how long this chapter is. It goes on forever. So anyway, we're going to carry on with this. We have the big board. There's sperm on the big board. There's no sperm on the buffer. I've cleaned the buffer. The sperm buffer is pristine. And it is up to us to fill it. I've lost where I was now. Where's the thing with the footnote? Oh, I'm going to have to start the whole chapter again. Here we are. Yes, to explain the sperm thing, if you've not seen this before, I'm keeping track of the progress through the book by drawing tiny sperms on the big board. There are 271 instances of the word sperm in Moby Dick, and every time I come across one, I draw a sperm, and in that way we maintain a sort of progress bar in terms of sperm. We're filling up the sperm. The sperm count is on the big board. I use the buffer, this board, because you can't make me keep standing up and going and doing that and coming and sitting down again. I'll just go do it on the little thing, and then I'll do that at the end when you're not watching. You don't have to watch me draw them. I can do that on my own time. I have to do a lot of this on my own time. I have to, prepare. I don't prepare any material, anything to say. I just prepare mentally, because it takes a lot out of me. This is why I can only do it twice a week. I bet if Gollum came on the internet and tried to read the whole Hobbit backwards in a day, he'd be screwed by the end of it. You'd see his face. 20 minutes in, his face would be dropping. It'd be flagging badly. Let's make a start though. We might as well crack on. Since I have nothing else to talk about, I can't really procrastinate any longer. Deep that in armour's Leviathan young saw we. Pond enchanted this in us to divulge seemed seas, the of secret subtlest, the of some. Trapped thereby is cub the that so, one hempen the with entangled becomes, loose end maternal the with, line natural this. Chase the of vicissitudes rapid the in seldom not. Damn it's to tethered still seemed cub young the which by, Leviathan madam of cord umbilical the of coils long saw Starbuck, now so. Ere the towards spiralling and rising buoyantly line curling slackened the show's and, again up floats he, sounding deep after as, rope of fathoms of hundreds out reeled has tubbed the from that, whale stricken the when as. From that introduction, you didn't think I was actually going to read it backwards, did you? I'm actually going to read the whole book backwards. I have read 80 odd chapters. No, I haven't. I've read 30 odd chapters. We have 80 chapters yet to go. It's confusing because the numbers don't go the way I'm reading it. So yes, 80 chapters odd left. You're stuck with it now. You're in it for the long haul. like I am. Down pointing, Queequeg said, "Here, looky!" Starbuck cried, "Man ye ales what?" Excuse me. "Man ye ales what?" "Little one, big one, whale two." Cardboard box. Struck who? Him line who? Fast him, fast him. Gunnel the overlooking Queequeg cried, "Line, line!" Parts foreign from arrived newly ears babies. What? Oh dear. Out of appearance, crumpled, plaited, the retained freshly still. Flukes his of... I can't remember what this was about from last episode. The problem with stopping in the middle of a chapter is I can't remember what was happening or unhappening in the previous bit. I'm not going to go back and, backtrack or watch it again. Maybe you can go back and watch episode 17 so you can get a run up at this episode. If you can watch that fast enough, maybe watch it on double speed if you have that sort of technology. You could probably watch all of that before I've got another 30 minutes into this. And then you could come and post in the Twitch chat about what that was about and remind me. And then I won't be confused anymore. Except that I won't be here anymore. I'll be 30 minutes in the future. So yeah, do that. Also, click like. I have to say that, don't I, at the start of the video. Click like. No point telling you at the end. You won't last that long. Click like and go and give money to the National Video Game Museum, which is what the link is for down there, the nvm.org. They're still collecting money to try and stay open while no one can go and see all their video games. Video games are ace. Everyone likes them. Pay some money to them and then you can go and see the ones that people used to play when you're allowed to leave the house again. Wasn't the past better, wasn't it? It's a lot better before. It's not as good now, is it? Now we have to play video games that only just came out now. And they're all shit. Not like Manic Miner. Where was I up to? Line. Yes, I'll start here. I'll assume I'd got to here. And we'll continue from there. Parts foreign. Oh yeah, the baby's... Did I read the baby's ears thing? Yes, here we are. Parts foreign. From arrived newly ears babies out of appearance, crumpled, plaited, the retained freshly still. Flukes his of palms that and, side fins delicate there. Bow tartars are like bent lies whale unborn the. Spring final the for ready all and. Head to tail, where? Reticule maternal, the inoccupied lately, so had it position irksome that from recovered yet scarce seemed body his yet as though. Frisky little was he, girth in feet 6 some, and length in feet 14 some, measured have might. Old day hardly seem tokens queer, certain from that. Infants little these of one. Us eyeing quietly seemed also mothers the, sides there on floating. Sight newborn there in gulf weed, of bit a butt, were we if as. Us at not but, us towards uplooking seem whales, these of young that did so even. Reminiscence unearthly some upon feasting spiritually still be, nourishment mortal drawing yet while and time thee at lives different to lives, I guess, at lives different to leading, if as. Breast the from away gaze fixedly and calmly, will suckling while infants human as and. Transparent exceedingly depth considerable at it was, hinted have I as lake the. Mothers become to shortly seemed girth enormous, there by that those and. Whales that of mothers nursing the of forms the floated, vaults watery those in suspended, for. Side the over gazed we as eyes our met, world stranger still and another, surface the upon world wondrous, this beneath far but. It keeps going. That isn't the end. I'm gonna have a little gin there. Not really. I drink whiskey, but I don't want to go crazy, because if I go crazy, I mean I am going crazy from doing this, but things progress very slowly if I drink too much before and during this show. It's not a show, but what I can't do is do this. Maybe I will do it smash drunk one day, to see how that goes. But it's confusing to try and read backwards and drink at the same time. I'd have to stop doing one of them, and unfortunately I can't stop reading backwards. So the drinking, well, I'll have to wait. It darting from refrain time the four, consequences the of fearful but, lance his with backs their scratched Starbuck. Actually, it does help to be slightly drunk doing this. I have found the flow, I don't know if I just don't care that I'm making so many mistakes, but it seems to make a lot more sense when you've had a drink or two. So if you're going to read a terrible book backwards, maybe not this one, because I'm doing this one. Maybe you could do Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead. How's that? You could read The Fountainhead backwards from end to start. You have to find your happy medium, just how sober you need to be to see if you can, keep it making enough sense that it doesn't fall apart, but just little enough sense that it doesn't actually perturb you, that none of it makes any sense. That doesn't make any sense, I know. Foreheads there patted Queequeg. Them domesticated suddenly had spells, some that seemed almost it till. Them touching and... excuse me, a persistent cough there. I think I'm coming down with it. Every Friday I come down with it, and then by Tuesday I'm fine. Gunnel's hour to upright. Us round snuffling came they, dogs household like. At marvel to not impossible was it which panic becharmed still at Elsore, confidence and fearlessness wondrous evinced. Lake that of margin the from boat becalmed our visiting then and now. Whales smaller these, been have may it however, inexperienced and innocent way every and, unsophisticated, young so being, possibly, or, stopping its of cause precise the learning from them prevented hitherto had heard, the of extent heard the that's really confusing. That sounds like someone's heard the extent of something, but it's not that kind of heard the of extent wide the if as and. Drink responsibly, kids. Fold innermost this in uplocked purposely had been had calves and cows the if as because circumstance this mention I. Drinkaware.co.uk for the facts. Horizon the of rim the from almost up playing seemed that boat low hour from discovered be might sproutings. Not sprouting, spoutings. Deceptive be might time. As such a test, as such indeed though. Rate any at. Miles square, 3 or 2 least it contained have must. Multitude whole thereby embraced. Juncture this at area entire there. So circles those of one, any in pods various, the between spaces the of inclusive and. Circles outer revolving the between intervals wide, occasional the of inclusive now. Host routed this of children and women, the calves and cows tame small by visited occasionally were we, lake the of centre the at keeping. Up us shut to order in us admitted only had that wall the. In us hemmed that wall living the in breach for watch must we. Us afforded present at was escape of chance possible no. Heard the of axis embade the surrounding immediately more. Whales reposing of crowd the of density the to owing. Backs there on round gone have so and. One's middle the overarched have easily might circus rider titanic that. Shoulder to shoulder closely so and. Ring in horses of spans multiplied like, round and round going swiftly, each in 10 or 8, whales of pods successive saw and. Circles concentric outer the of tumults the beheld we distance distracted the in still and. Commotion every of heart the at lurks say they which calm enchanted that in now were we yes. Moods quiet more his in whale the by off thrown moisture subtle thereby produced. Sleek are called, surface satin like smooth that presented, I'm gonna have to scroll up a bit, that presented see the expanse central this in. Oh, I like The Expanse. That's a good show, isn't it? I've been watching The Expanse with my wife. I finally convinced her to watch The Expanse. It's ace. We've nearly got to the end of series 3. You should definitely go and watch that if you haven't watched that. If you've already watched it, go and watch it again. It's so good. I've seen it like 5 times now. It's spot on. It's better than this nonsense. Stop watching this. Go and watch The Expanse. Come back after. Felt not but heard were whales outermost the between glens roaring that in storms the here. Lake valley serene into slid had we torrent mountain some from if as shoal the of heart innermost the into whales too between glided we momentum parting his of force tapering the with then vanished sideways whale towing the and outdrew harpoon jerking the last at when that so waning seemed disorders direful the commotion of circumference the from further and further still went we as that moreover diminished greatly way whales hour heard the into advanced we as that not it were drugged harpoons these dart to impossible to next been had it. The reason why I found it so hard to convince my wife to watch The Expanse is that she has a natural aversion to anything anyone else likes. Anything that's critically acclaimed, anything that's popularly accepted as being a great work of popular fiction, she won't go for. And the more you try and persuade her, the more resistant she becomes. I don't know why it is. The Expanse is the first time I've managed to convince her to watch anything. She hasn't seen Breaking Bad, even though Breaking Bad's great. She won't go for that. But I finally persuaded her to watch The Expanse, and she hates it. But she doesn't hate it because of the story. She doesn't hate it because of the characters. She doesn't even hate it because of the spaceships. She hates it because in zero gravity, people's hair should float around a lot more than it actually does in the show. And she finds the entire thing unconvincing at best and intolerably frustrating at worst. At the end of every episode, she goes, that lady's hair didn't float the way it should have done. I'm like, yeah, but they're in the ring. It's all exciting. It's gone purple. And there's the man with the fictional man who died and all that. I would no spoilers. But she's like, yeah, but it just wouldn't work because her hair would be in her face, or she'd need to put it in a bun. Is that what women put their hair in? I don't know. But I'm starting to doubt myself now. I usually eat buns. I bake and eat them. I don't normally come across hair in them. Is it a bun or a bob? Maybe it's both. Are they different things? They're different kinds of hair, aren't they? Bobs. A bob's what people out of Friends had. They're not as popular anymore, are they? After everyone realised that the gender roles and homophobic humour was a bit questionable. Time the from leaks the stopped so and in shirts and drawers 3 or 2 stuffed we but planks wounded the at him came see the sides both on him under from slid seat the as bottom boats the in oarsman the dropping away it carried and out it tore instant and in and see that's the sort of shit sentence. It's really hard to read backwards. This business and out it tore instance and in and that just it's hard. That doesn't make any sense to human eyes. And in and boat the of seats the of one under caught it block wooden clumsy the overboard tossing of act the in third the flinging upon butt ball and chain the with malefact sorry just overboard. I was going to let that slide, overboard tossing, and then I just an image of my dad farting on a ski slope and saying that it was fresh air came to mind. Thing is, if everybody tossed overboard, it wouldn't make a difference, right? It's literally a drop in the ocean. In the same way that my dad farting on a ski slope, his argument was that no one could possibly be bothered because he was in the great outdoors. But if everybody simultaneously farted on a ski slope, it could cause all sorts of trouble. It could cause an avalanche, or at least someone might fall and sprain an ankle as a result. Anyway, sorry, I'll continue. This is the difficulty I have, is the sidetracking. My brain works faster than the book, because Herman Melville wrote famously slowly, even backwards. I'm now looking at this word. That's not a word, is it? Is it a word? Maybe it's a nautical term. Malefactors like cramped they were they. Drug towing the of resistance sidelong enormous the by fettered. Off running staggeringly whales the saw we and. Darted successfully were second and first the. Excuse me. I'm going to have to make some progress here. I'm going to stop talking in between every word. I'll leave it for every third word. Them of sea with furnished was boat our. Requisition into comes. Drug the these like times at that. Is it hence? Is it hence? Leisure you're at killed afterwards, be can they that so? Them wing must you. Once at all them kill, cannot you if and can you all kill, must you? Then may you while. This is a garbled serial killer's manifesto. Encountered day every not our whale's sperm, but way. There's one. Time at one chase possibly can you then. We see so few. I'm going to draw it right now. It's the first of the episode. Let's draw a sperm. Here we go. A big old sperm. There he is. The first and only sperm that we're going to encounter. Maybe. As I've said before, the longer this goes on and the fewer sperm we find, the more concerned I am that there is going to be a chapter at some point that is literally a paragraph in which it just goes sperm, 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 spermy sperm, spermatozoon, spermaceti, astispermanti. But anyway, we're drawing it now. Time one at chase possibly can you then round close our whales more than four. Used is drug this that whales gallies among chiefly is it. Harpoon at fastened be moment at in can it. Looped being line the of end other the and. Block this of middle the to attached then is length considerable of line a. Angles right at grain others each cross they that so. Together clench stoutly are size equal of wood of squares thick two. Drugs called. Indians Nantucket the by invented originally. Contrivances curious certain carry whaleboats all. Extremity fan-like. Own his with himself cooling calmly seemed. Gunnel hour to close. Close. Which another 2 second cried. There, tail yaw with down hard. Us swamp to threatened instant and for and. Surface that to bodily rose sudden out of that dromedary great atu. One cried, Commodore, weigh thee of out. Business the of part shouting that to attended chiefly they, with dispensed altogether now was duty wanted there though, idle quite oarsmen there were nor. One's long make to time no was therefore. Darts short by reach could he whales whatever way our out pricking. Hand in lance. Bows that in upstood starbuck. Time that all while overhead suspended were flukes colossal whose. That from away edging now. Advance in route hour across directly monster this from off shearing now. Manfully us steered Queequeg. Daunted bit a not but. Crushed and inlocked be may it moment that at not knowing. Straits and channels complicated there through steer to striving and tempest at in ice isles by mobbed ship alike was boat beset our. Us about rushing fro and to creatures crazed thereby. Flew we as menaced sides all on. See that in gash white tore thus we as. Him to fastened had that leech iron the of himself rid to speed of power sheer by if as. Forward plunged whale there, deaf and blind as. Throb delirious in exist only and life circumspect to adieu bid you. Shoal frantic that into deeper and deeper you drags monster swift thee as for. Fishery the of vicissitudes perilous, more the of one present it does yet. Anticipated less or more always, almost, is indeed and. Unprecedented wise no in is. Circumstances such understruck whale the of part the on movement as such though. Heard the of heart the for straight steered. Light like us with away running then and. Faces our in spray blinding darted fish stricken there. Flung was harpoon queequegs. Time minutes 3 about in. Shoal the other outskirts the on whale lone one some for making each. Separated once at boats there. Cases those in customary as it is as, not as is. Is as, careful. Place one in remained collectively but. Retreated nor advanced neither. Heard the whole as that observed be to is it yet. Motion violent in were. Said been has as. Whales the of many though. Good grief. Men of madness. Quite. Is that my beard, by the way? My beard's getting bigger and bigger through lockdown. It's soon going to overtake my entire face. It's going to be bigger than my head. It's almost the biggest I've ever grown it. But I'm not going to give in. Not until anybody has to see me in person. Nobody does. My boss said he'd been trying to grow a beard, but it failed. Like a 10-year-old would. I think he didn't really stick at it. It got a bit itchy, and then he took it off again. You got to work through the itchiness. You've got to press on. You've got to push through. It's sorry, I banged the table then. It's what's the phrase? It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's definitely it with a beard. You need to stick with it. You need to grow into it. Not physically. I mean, I haven't grown into this beard. It hasn't gone bigger, and then my face has gone bigger. And when I shave it off, I'll have a big face. The beard, it's quite long. The face is the same size. If you've never grown a beard, this might not be very clear to you, especially if you're a lady who's never grown a beard. But men's faces stay the same when the beard grows. So don't be afraid of growing a beard, boss, if you can. Men of madness, the by outdone. He does watch this, by the way. Hello, boss. I know you think I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot in the day, though. Am I? Am I? I might be. Men of madness, the by outdone infinitely not is which earth, the of beasts, the of folly no is therefore. Us before whales gallied strangely, the at amazement any withhold, therefore best. Death to order each dashing remorselessly and jamming, trampling, crowding, outlets the for helter-skelter, not skelter-helter. Helter-skelter, rush. Fire of alarm slightest the at, will they, pit theatres of sheepfold that in together herded when how, beings human all, to witness. Too many commas, Herman. Horsemen solitary are before fled have west the of buffaloes lined. Oh, don't start it with the buffaloes again. I got a right itch in my ear. Excuse me. At least I'll turn away from the camera. That's better. What was I up to? I've gone dizzy now. How then no witness? Horsemen solitary. Oh yeah, buffaloes. Buffaloes. We had lots of buffaloes in a previous chapter. If you're reading this forwards, it would be a later chapter. You can look forward to the buffaloes. Lion-maned. The thousands of tens in together banding though. Creatures herding all almost of characteristic is timidity occasional this but. Dismay excessive such evinced have possibly not could they. Wolves fierce 3 by pasture the over pursued. Sheep simple of flock are but been leviathans these had. See the on ships dismantled waterlogged like floated helplessly. were it as paralysed completely, who number there of those by evinced strangely more still was this. I think Herman's found out what evinced means in this chapter, hasn't he? He's used it several times. I don't know what it means. Panic of distraction there betrayed plainly they, spoutings thick, short thereby, thither and hither, swimming aimlessly and, circles irregular vast in expanding directions all in. Consternation with mad going seemed they, Alexander with battle Indian that in elephants porous king like and, rout measureless, one in upbroken now were, swimming steadily and rapidly hitherto been had they, which in columns martial compact there. Gallied is he, say they, whale that in it perceive fishermen the when, which irresolution inert of perplexity strange that of influence the underlast, at now were they that token animating gave whales thee among commotion pausing, full stop please, pausing general when chase the renounced to disposed almost were pulling hours several after and white ash thereto sprang we drawers and shirts hour to stripped. Velocity redoubled with unmoved bayonets stacked of lines flashing like looked all spouts there that so battalions and ranks close in forming and again rallied they than rear there in mile yet as though them after were that keels three that of notified become whale sperm. Yay, another whale sperm. Let's do a big one. It's a whale sperm. Oh, these sperms are getting stupid. I'm not even going to have space for his tail. I'm going to have to... There you go. I did say that when I ran out of space on the big board, which we're only halfway through the big board, but, you know, we're going to get there. When the big board is full, I'm going to count them and rub them out and do like a tally system where for every 5 or maybe 10 sperm, I'll combine them into one mega sperm that's kind of like the same mass as 10 of the existing sperm, but that I can compact together into a more, tesselatable, I guess, whatever, arrangement, and thereby save space on the board. Eventually, we'd like to get all 271 sperms on the big board, but the big board, I'm going to have to admit, right now, the big board isn't that big. The big board isn't all that big. That's 53, I think, sperms, and it's halfway full. So it'd be nice if we didn't have to aggregate the sperms into mega sperms, but we might have to in order to fit them on the big board. Or I could buy a bigger board. Bigger boards are available, I get that. Or I could buy a second board. An overflow board for when the sperm overflows. Just as we have the sperm buffer, which then goes onto the big board, we could have a sperm overflow, for when there's just too much sperm to fit on either. Maybe all told, we'd be able to fit all of the sperm onto 2 big boards and the buffer, and we might be able to squeeze them all on. I'm aware the sperms are too big. They're zoomed in. Sperms in real life are tiny. They're not even, that isn't one. That's too big for a sperm. Some of those are massive compared to a real sperm. Maybe 3 or 4 times too big. Whale sperm, did I draw it? I did. Whale sperm, that of distinct instinct, wonderful, presumed some by. Heard that did sooner know but. Boats that to spring to past was word. Away dying now wind the and. Them neared ship the gradually, speed their abating seemed they lent at. Whales the of wake that in on driving still but. Malays the upon gazed victoriously, so had ship the that rejoiced to than. Ship the upon gaining been had whales swift the that grieved to more seemed harpooneers the then. Beyond waters broad the upon last at emerging, side Sumatra the on point cockatoo, green vivid the by shot last at Pequod the. Astern pirates the dropping and dropping steadily after. When and crew reckless, the of few very troubled these like thoughts but. Oh no, not pirates. Goodness me, they've come to steal the ambergris. And the beef, the 400 tons of beef that they're carrying. Place it's from thing firm the drag to able being without. It gnawing bean had tied stormy some after beach sand black the like. Ribbed and gaunt left excuse me. Ribbed and gaunt left was brow Ahab's. Brain his through past had conceits these all when. Curses therewith on him cheering infernally were devils atheistical, inhuman and pirates wild remorseless of herd abbot. That only had end deadly his to chaste being and chasing both now was he gate same that through her that how beheld and vengeance his to root the lay gate that through that him bethought and sailing then was ship the which in defile watery the of walls green the upon glanced he when and his seemed above thee as fancy such some him chasing pirates bloodthirsty the one after the in and chased he monsters the beholding turn forward his in deck the paced to and fro Ahab arm under glass with as were they that her to rowels I guess there's something to do with rowing maybe her to rowels and riding whips mere or maybe not if there's something to do with riding whips. Is it a horse thing or is it a buffalo thing? Maybe you ride a buffalo with a riding whip and a rowel. Rowels and riding whips mere pursuit chosen own her to on her speeding in assist to philanthropists tawny these of kind very how chase hot in herself was wind leading fresh awith Pequod swift the when but delay overcautious therefore up make two pursuit hot in now were Asiatics rascally Asiatics rascally these straits the entered have fairly should Pequod the till headlands the behind lurking long to if as us after and sir Malays. Was it Malays? I don't know how you pronounce that out of context. Malays. Malays. I'm going to go for that. Us after and sir Malays. Malaysia. Malays. Malays. I don't know. Sails the wet to buckets and whips rig and there aloft. Crying pivot hole, his in revolved quickly Ahab. Sight this at glass his levelling, disappearing finally without, hovered constantly they four. Go and come completely, so not did they only. Whales the of spouts the like something falling and rising, vapours white detached of form seemed it. Rear hour in another beheld we, van hour in crescent the two corresponding. Wake hour in something to attention directing loudly, heard was Tashtego of voice the, sudden at of, when. Us before Leviathans these driving, along sailed we, stun sail on piled stun sail with so. Siamese the of procession coronation that in white elephant worship the like, swimming be temporarily, not might himself Dick Moby, caravan congregated that in. Whether tell could, who and. Number there of few are not of capture the witness to seize oriental the into deploy only would host vast the sunder of straits these through chased that they had doubt little held only wind the if boats suspended yet there of heads the from cheering loudly and weapons there handling harpooneers the them after pressed Pequod the sail all crowding. Is this it now? Just one chapter for the rest of the book, even though it's called chapter 80 or whatever it is. It's been going forever. Centre crescentic. Crescentic? Just make them up, Herman. Centre crescentic still but solid one in. On swimming and semicircle there of wings the contracting gradually. Straits the through forward hurrying seem now whales of fleet fast this did so even. Plainly upon security comparative in expand more once and. Rear there in passage perilous that place to eagerness all. March there accelerate, mountains that in defile unfriendly and approaching armies marching as. High to hat on horsemen some by, morning autumnal balmy out of descried, metropolis dense some of chimneys cheerful thousand the like showed, haze bluish of atmosphere blending through beheld and the into upcurling individually, spouts vapoury of host this, see the of hill high at on rise would she as then deck pequods the from seen. Leeward to away falling and rising continually, mist white of bush curled excuse me, mist white of bush curled thick presents white whale sperm. Good grief, another sperm on the white bush curled. Here we go. There's one sperm there, and he's going to be going, I'm going to tickle you in the face, tickle you in the eye. The big boss. Well, sperm, the of spout forward slanting single the willow out of boughs drooping cleft the like. This is an anatomically questionable paragraph. The drooping cleft the like. Branches two in overfall top at dividing which excuse me. Whale right the of twin jets perpendicular straight the unlike. Ere noonday that in sparkling and up playing were whale jets of chain continuous horizon level the of half one embracing semicircle greater forming and miles 3 or 2 some of distance that at bows both on broad. Thousands on thousands seem sometimes what by saluted suddenly be then and spout single by greeted being without together months and weeks for sail sometimes now may you grounds cruising best that in even that circumstance the imputed be made caravans immense such into whale sperm. Oh come on, I'll do it in a minute. I can see others coming up as well. We've got another one there, so just count them from, we'll do them at the end of the paragraph. Count them. 1 sperm, whale sperm, the of aggregation this 2 protection and assistance mutual for covenant and league solemn sworn had them of nations numerous if as seem almost would it that multitude are great so embracing sometimes herds extensive in with met frequently now are times former in as companies detached small in sailing invariably almost of instead whale sperm the oceans whale sperms the oceans for all over 100. I was just wondering if what kind of clip that would make with me going whale sperm like that. That's, you know, like who is it that does that? Is it K-pop stars? They seem to do that a lot. Whales the sperm there. Oceans for all. You don't get an extra sperm for every time I say sperm. It's just the once that it's in the book. Just because I keep reading it over and over again doesn't mean that we get it over and over again. I just painted myself into a corner there, didn't I? I could have said the more times I read the word sperm, the more sperms it counts for, and then I could just read it 200 times and stick them all on the board and we'd be done. That's the end of the book. Mr. Trick. Whale sperm there, that must be 10 by now. Oceans for all over hunted, been have they late of which with activity unwearied, the two owing that. Premised it be here but. There we go, 2 sperms to draw. I hope the YouTube's algorithm doesn't look at this video and decide that it's because it contains the word sperm more than any other video on the site, it should be taken down. A cease and desist should be issued by the who runs sperm? Who owns it? Who owns the license to sperm? Or is it publicly owned? Is it like the government? There you go, 2 more. Is it like the government, Department of Sperm or something? There. Who knows? Who knows might own them? The International Sperm Marketing Board. Us saluted magnificent singular of spectacle along air and Aloft from herd was cry cheering customary the when. Straight the entered nigh well had shipped there. Hereabouts game any within falling of thought all renouncing almost. Descried was jet single, not yet. Ere the inn snuffed was cinnamon fresh the nostrils delighted with and bow starboard the on loomed soon land the of cliffs palmy green the though but awake wide keep to admonished and hailed repeatedly were lookouts the head Java upon more and more gained Pequod the as therefore cruising for spot excellent and as fisherman the by recognised generally was roundabout ground the of most as indeed sunder of straits the of vicinity near the inn Java of coast western the off captured bean had whales sperm many as now another sperm I saw it, don't worry, I saw it. I'm gonna draw it now. There you go. We'll do it down there, a little one, just a little tiny sperm, a little baby one, not a baby sperm. I mean it's a baby sperm, it's not the sperm of a baby. That's ridiculous, don't be disgusting. Is this when is this chapter going to end? It's good grief. Got 14 minutes left of this episode, and I'm going to be really fucking annoyed if I don't finish a chapter in a whole episode. It's crazy. This whole thing's going to turn out to be a footnote to something else, isn't it? Maybe I'll just carry on till this chapter's done. Let's see how we get on. It's annoying because I feel like I can't stop. I can't take the time out of this episode to discuss Star Trek. And I watched an episode of Star Trek, a double episode of Star Trek, just the other day that was quite good. The Next Generation is the first one that's really kicked off. First one since that Romulan who played by the guy out of Babylon 5. This was quite a good one. It was the one where the Captain Picard gets the shit in his face and turned into a robot. It was pretty good, that. You know, if every episode was like that, or more to the point, if the whole series, if there was actually an arc that led up to that rather than one episode of foreshadowing more than a series ago, it would have felt like a pretty good ending to that series 3. But hopefully now things are going to open up and it's going to be cool again. I'm looking forward to it. I won't go on about it now. I need to form my opinions of it. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. Let's never speak of it again. Arc the hears boys well. Answer only would they. But yeah, I can't talk about that because I need to finish this chapter. Pronto. Now I've only got 13 minutes left because I had to explain why I couldn't talk about it because I only have 14 minutes left. Answer only would they. Come had flood another that news the them carry you did. That so. Themselves like seamen floating doesn't count. That doesn't count. Themselves like seamen floating but man no seen having crew her. Soil of grain one sighted have not may interval that all in whale ship there ports of score at touching again backhand York new from China to gone have made China have to do it in the voice, don't we? China to gone have made. That's not a Chinese voice, that's an impression of Donald Trump. I grant you it's not a very good one. But when he says China, it sounds like he's doing a racist impression of a Chinese person. So in doing an impression of Donald Trump, and I'm no impressionist, I sound racist myself. That was not my intention at all. I'm not in any way racist, apart from towards Donald Trump himself. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that because this book has contained racist language in the previous episodes, as we've discussed. It's unpleasant, it's uncalled for, it's of its time. This wasn't an example of racism from Herman Melville, surprisingly enough. It was an example of racism from Donald Trump via my terrible impression of Donald Trump, for which I can only apologise. China to gone have may ships other while, that is it hence. Streams Indian or Peruvian the from, casks in off rafted yesterday but, fluid brackish the before drink to prefers. Ugh. Pacific the in, Nantucket the, afloat years 3 when, which water Nantucket prime old clear. Her in water years carries she. What is a water year? Is it like how fast does water age? Is it like a dog year but I guess it's longer than a dog year. Or it'd be shorter than a dog year. It'd be shorter, wouldn't it? Because water lasts a lot longer than a dog. I mean, dogs die after what, 10 years odd? Which is why we say that their years are longer than a human year. But water lasts for billions of years, doesn't it? A water molecule, if unaffected by chemical processes, would just quite happily last for indefinitely, maybe. So maybe a water year is infinitely fast, and so the years of water years carries she's infinitely old. Kentlage and Pigled unusable with altogether not. Utilities with ballasted is she. Hold ample her in bottled contents lakes whole has she. Wants there and weapons there. Crew and herself, but cargo no carries whale ship world wandering there. Wharves foreign to transferred be to. Stuff alien with downloaded are hulls other while. Whaler the in to this mark Ahab so. Himself to what's but sustenance no needs and ring fiery his within raced has sun circus running there. Now time long afore, nay, water for stop will he surely. Air drink crew his does, land no touch Ahab does, quest zone this in, now how but? It haunting be to presumed be reasonably most mighty when season at and frequent to known most was he his see the in Dick Moby to battle giving upon counted firmly pursuit his in foiled else everywhere though Ahab where Pacific the in line the upon descending to previous world the of grounds cruising whale sperm yes do it at the end whale sperm known the all almost sweepwood pequod circumnavigating the means these by their season whaling great the foretime in chapter of coast chapter I was thinking ahead to the end of the chapter. I was just wishful thinking there. Japan of coast farther gain and islands Philippine the by inshore sweep whale sperm that's two the by there and here frequented be to known waters over northward cruising thence and sea Javan the into them through past to purposing Ahab straits these to nigh drawing was Pequod the wind fresh fair with 2 sperms to draw. Just do them quick. I'm not even going to show you. You can trust me. I'm just going to draw them quick because let's face it, right? This is getting ridiculous. This chapter's stupid. It should have stopped hours ago. And it's getting annoying. Pillaged and boarded remorselessly been have. Waters those in which vessels American and English of here occasionally we. Day present the at even yet. Repressed somewhat been late of has corsairs these of audacity the. Cruisers European of hands the at received have they chastisements bloody repeated the by though. Spears there of point the at tribute demanding fiercely. Straits the though sailing vessels the upon out sallied have. Sumatra of islets and coves shaded low the among lurking Malays the of prowess piratical the mind of out time. Tribute solid more to claim their renounce means no by do they. This like ceremonial away freely they while but. East the of cargoes costliest the with freighted, Java and Sumatra of islands the between past have, day by and night by, past centuries for which, wind the before ships of procession endless the from topsails lowered of homage obsequious, the demand not do Orientals these, Danes the unlike. Propontis the and Baltic the Mediterranean the 2 entrances the guard which fortresses domineering those with unsupplied are sunder of straits the of shores the world western all grasping the from guarded being of ineffectual however appearance the bare least that should land the of formation very the by treasures that such that nature of provision significant as seems it enriched our sea oriental that of island thousand the which with nice dressing ivory and gold and jewels and silks and spices of wealth inexhaustible the considering and. Empire walled vast, some into opening gateways central that to correspond little are not they. Head Java as seaman, doesn't count, to known promontory green bold that by buttressed. Islands of rampart vast that in midway standing and. Java from Sumatra divide sunder of straits narrow those. We have 5 minutes left. And there it is! The end of the chapter. Oh, the final push. Let's get this knocked off. Seas China, the into emerge west the from China to bound vessels, chiefly sunder of straits the by. Malacca and sunder of straits the are which among conspicuous. Whales and ships of convenience, the for sally ports several by pierced is rampart this. Archipelagos oriental studded thickly the from ocean Indian unbroken long the dividing and. Australia with Asia connecting lengthwise, rampart o'er, mole vast a form, others many with which, Timor and Bali, Java, Sumatra of islands long the stretch peninsula that from line continuous are in. Asia all of points southerly most the forms, Burma of territories, questionable spelling of Burma, I guess. They prefer Myanmar these days, don't they? Burma of territories, the from southeastward, I say they prefer it, I mean that's just what it's called. They prefer to be called what it's called. Burma of territories, the from, doesn't matter how you spell it. Southeastwards, extending, Malacca of peninsula narrow and long the. Armada Grand the 87 chapter. Oh, that was the Council of Elrond of Moby Dick, wasn't it? That chapter. That was a monster, an absolute monster. I bet the next chapter is like 8 lines long. No, oh sake! Look at that. Come on, Herman. What a mess. Still, we got. What did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sperms out of that chapter. 8 sperms. Now, I know it's a long chapter, but still. It's good to see a few sperms on the board. Quite happy with that. Quite miserable that we didn't get any further than 1 chapter, but still, it had to be done. It had to be done. I thought, as that went on longer and longer, it started feeling like lockdown. It was more and more oppressive as time went on, but glad it is done for now. I think I'm gonna call that a night. That's been pretty good to get that done. Not a very entertaining chapter. I don't even know what it's about. I'm concerned that when I come to write the little blurb for the YouTube version of this video, which if you're watching, click like, because it's ace, isn't it? I don't know what I'm going to write because I don't know what that was about. No idea. No idea. I've no memory of it. It's just that's gone in one ear and out the other. Well, in both eyes and out the mouth, but backwards. So in the mouth and out the eyes. Into your ears. And eyes if you're following along. I don't know. But that's probably enough, isn't it? Is that enough? I think so. I don't have any other point. There's no points of order to cover. There's nothing else to discuss. Yeah, so that's it. See ya, I guess. Tuesday. Come back on Tuesday when it'll be less long-winded. It'll be exactly the same.